ready. The officials are ready.
All right, here it is, my final race or races of the season. This is the one I was kind of preparing for all year with my crit journey. This being my first year doing crit races. This video is for day one of the Gateway Cup in St. Louis, Missouri. It's called the Tour De Lafayette, Cat 4-5. You know, like a lot of these cities, they do not have a Cat 5 race. They have a Cat 4-5 race. You know, my plan coming into this was I was willing to go up and do 2 races. And if something miraculous happened on the first day, I might consider doing a third and a fourth day. But I knew there's that hill day, I think, on day 3. And I just know that that's me throwing money at the prize purse. And there's just no chance that I'd be able to survive a race like that. But I thought these first 2 days for sure I wanted to do. And I'm glad I did it. This was a great event. These courses were a lot of fun. They were wide open. What I really liked is, yeah, I know they threw the 4-5 together, and I don't really appreciate that, but they didn't pull us off the course. And maybe that's a spoiler there. Maybe I should have given an alert. Yeah, I didn't finish the race with the pack, but I did stay with it for a good amount. This was a very doable race. It was just after corner 1, there's that long uphill drag there, and then it rounds corner 2, and then it goes uphill a little more, and it was just punchy over that stuff right there. And that long uphill drag trying to stay in the group, and then punching over that hill every time. And on video you can't see it very much, but it took a toll after a while. And you can see even after corner 3, we punch it back up again, and that just doesn't suit me very well. But it was a fun course. It was fast. It was wide open, very safe feeling. Now that doesn't mean it was safe, because a lot of crashes did happen at the overall at the event, and in this race, as a matter of fact, there's a pretty nasty crash, which I catch it in the periphery of my cameras. I don't actually catch it clearly, but that happened right next to me as the group was coming around after they had lapped me. And boy, that's kind of a grotesque noise, listening to people crash like that. I never heard that live, and it's pretty. I didn't enjoy hearing that. It's not giving me nightmares, but the guys were okay. I know one guy did get back on his bike and finish up, and I read comments later that day or the next day on another video, and someone said that they had broken their pelvis in that crash. So that's kind of a bummer. I hate to hear someone get seriously injured in a crash like that. And then in the Masters race on the same day, someone got really hurt. They shut down the race for about 20-25 minutes, and they had to pull someone off on a stretcher. And I don't know the outcome of that. I hope he's okay, but that was pretty... you hate to see that. We know that this type of racing is hazardous. I think of all the racing I've done, gravel and mountain bike and road races, I think this is the most hazardous type of bike race out there right now. And it's a lot of fun and fast and exciting, but it's constant decision making, and there's always risk. Not just from yourself making a mistake, but if someone else makes a mistake while you're in the pack, it gets you in trouble real fast. So anyway, I was on the Cat 4-5. This was day 1. It was kind of a hot day. My coach recommended I get the stockings or the socks and put an ice pack in my back, and I tried that. It was the first time I ever did that. I wish I knew about that at Edwardsville. I think that would have helped. Does it change the temperature? No, but it certainly makes it a little bit more tolerable. If it knocks a few degrees off my body core temperature, then that's worthwhile. Because not only is it cold on your back, right there on your spinal cord, but it's also dripping cool water down around your neck, down on your chest, and so that's keeping you cool from the wind effect. So definitely when it gets hot like that, that is a great thing to do. You know, heat tolerance used to be no problem for me when I was younger, but in my 50s now, and that starts to have a bigger impact on my ability to race and perform at a high level in those high temperatures. Yeah, so here we are. You know, this was a pretty fast race. I hung with them as long as I could. I don't know what to say about this one. I did know that I needed to move up at times, and it was just hard because it was fast. I was constantly trying to recover from the punchiness around corners 1, 2, and 3. And in this downhill section coming into the finish line, I can catch my breath a little bit, but then as soon as we take that turn at the bottom here. So here I'm trying to recover a little bit, and we're going pretty fast. Now I'll move up where I can. You can see I'm moving up here. And then we turn that corner, and it's like we punch it right back up, and it's slightly uphill, this whole stretch right here. I don't know why I moved my camera like that when I edited the 360, but you can see the wattage we're putting down because we start going uphill and it's not real steep, but people just want to kind of pick up the pace. And I get it, it's a race. If you can drop people out the back by pushing the pace up front, then that's what you do over and over and over again. Fast forward a lap, here we are coming to the finish stretch again, and look at these speeds we're hitting. That's pretty fast, and I think it's slightly downhill through that section if I remember right. Through the finish straight, and then take a left, and then on uphill again. But you can see we're all strung out here. That means someone's really picking up the pace as we go through here. And I'm kind of gapped off a little bit. Oop, that guy overshot that a little bit. Lost his momentum. So I got to get on a wheel here to help try to get back up to the front, or at least get back into the pack here. What I really liked about the crits is looking at the bikes. There's a whole variety of bikes. You don't need a fancy modern bike. You can get a racing bike that's 10 years old and do very well on these. Plenty of people had older bikes, rim braked bikes. You can see one on the right there. Non-racy rims, like you can see the guy on the right there. You don't need deep wheel, fancy racing stuff. You just need some horsepower and be able to run along at a high intensity and keep up with everybody else. So around corner 3. So here on the right is Nicholas. He's been in all of my videos, all my crit videos, I think. And he's from Indiana, I believe. And he says, "Hey, can I get in front of you here?" And I say, "Sure, come on over." Take a little cutsies, and he gives me a free ride. We move up about 20 spots here. Watch this sweet move. So let's get on Nicholas's wheel here, and he just drags me up to the front. Not up to the front, but up further than we were. Right? That's a good move. Sweet move. Good wheel to follow. Appreciate the pull. That guy didn't look too happy. Kind of shook his head there, but whatever. Maybe he goes up there and gives them the what to for him. But here we go, back to the finish straight. Cruising along. Pace stayed really high in this. Nothing too exciting to talk about here. I'm gonna cut forward some more and get you further into the race, or at least get you to the part where I get popped off the back of this thing here. So we're about 12 minutes into the race here, coming around to corner 3. I think this is a little Cat 5 action here. Let's see, a little waggle, and that kind of ripple effects through the inside of the peloton there. Then of course I had to grab a little break there because I didn't know what was about to happen, and then I had to punch the watts back up. Boy, just touching those brakes for a second, you instantly lose momentum just as the group starts to pull away. So and there's a price to pay anytime you touch the brakes, or anytime you have to react to something happening on the course. Yes, we're coming into corner number 4, and again it goes slightly downhill after this. Let's see. Yeah, they start picking it up pretty soon here. I think this is a lap where I start to get popped off the back. You see people starting to move up. They're holding pretty fast pace through the finish straight there. The rule in crit is if you're not moving up, then you're moving back. And that's at this race, the 2 days that I did, it was very apparent. You could just see it happening. If you're not moving up, people are always creeping around you around the outsides of the peloton. It's a constant process, so you gotta keep an eye on that and keep on moving up every opportunity you get. On day 2, which I'll have that video out right after this one, hopefully. That's when I really started to feel that, like, it all clicked for me in race number 2. Race number 1, I was kind of wild-eyed and in survivor mode, but race number 2, I felt like I was really able to make something happen, and just felt a lot better about it. And here we go, that slight uphill section. Well, this is where you can see what's starting to happen here. They pick up the pace, and I start to get dropped right here. It's just when they punch it up over that, well, I'm kind of suffering going up that long stretch, and then they pick up the pace. It's like, the world starts closing in on me. And once you pop off the back like that, unless you rally really quickly, got another wheel to get onto really quickly, then boy, the chances of getting back on are pretty slim. Yep, dropping my head. That's a sure sign someone is suffering. If you see that someone doing that in front of you, you know that they're about done and their race is just about over. Still in sight. Here comes Nicholas coming up behind me. You know, there's a race predictor on the bikereg.com, wherever that site is, and it places him one spot ahead of me for day 1 and day 2, which is funny. It's about what it comes out to. That's a pretty accurate predictor. Oh wait, I guess my GoPro isn't matching up with my 360 right here. I must have done something wrong in the editing process there. You see that little push I put in right there? You know, if they pull you off the course, they'll keep you in the order that you cross that line. So I've learned to just try to punch up a little bit if I'm next to somebody. Try to cross the line ahead of them. That'll give you one more spot up in the placings. And this is it. This is kind of the end of my race. So I'll fast forward. Oh, there's Nicholas right there. Maybe he's just right out of view. Yeah, we're having a chat. We're commiserating at the back here. So let me fast forward to where the peloton comes around me. Maybe you can catch a glimpse of that wreck that happened in this race. Yeah, here we go. That's the lead moto in front of me there. The pace car was ahead of that. Corner number 3. Peloton's closing in on me. And I'm completely cooked at this point. Not much fight left in me at all. Yeah, here comes the pack right here. So it happens right next to me. It'll be kind of behind my left brake hood there, by my left wrist. Kind of that's the area where the accident happens if we had a clear view of it. And it was right in the middle of the pack, and it was just all of a sudden, there was a calamity, and people went down, and you'll just catch some bodies and bikes laying on the ground. There they go. And boy, I hate to see that happen. I'm sure no one expected that in the middle of the peloton. I mean, it wasn't like they were slamming around a corner or anything when that one happened. But boy, I hate to see that happen. Yeah, I had no fight in me to try to catch on. They were just moving too fast, and I had nothing left in my legs at this point. Here we go. Final corner. I'm so glad they didn't pull us off the course. Did I say that yet? I'm so glad, and thank you to the organizers for letting us, because we spend a lot of money, and we travel, and hotels, and food, and like all this stuff involved. At least we get to stay on the course and keep on racing. So here comes my big hero move. You know, kind of pick it up around the corner, pass one more person at the end there. And see if I can move up just that one more spot. Come to the finish straight. And I'm done. That sure was hard. Sure was fun though. Had a blast on day 1. Looking forward to day number 2 at the Gateway Cup. I'll have that video hopefully up at or around the same time as this one. That was a much more exciting race. I have a lot more to say about day 2 because I was able to stick with it through almost the entire race. And I don't know, it just went a lot better for me. I don't know if my comfort level went up, or if my skills were better, or if the race was slower. Who knows? You know, for this race, my average, so running half of the time by myself, let's see, my average speed was 22.9. My normalized power was 232 watts, with my average power 225 watts. So right on par with what I'm capable of. The numbers for day number 2 are quite a bit different, especially that speed. So I'll wrap this video up. Thanks for watching. Hope you can check out my next video. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. And if you were part of this race, make sure you share with your friends. Maybe they'll see themselves on my video somewhere.